Call the July meeting of Council Planning and Zoning Commission. First thing, the first statement I will read is on the citizens' comments, state your name, address, 3 minutes speaking time unless otherwise directed by chair. Please address comments of the chair in a civil and respectful manner. Roll call and seating of alternates. David, you're a regular, right?
Yeah. Yep.
John Rice,
Brian Santos.
Ray Williams.
Alvin Hill,
Randy Blackmer. And
John B. Lanky via Zoom.
we have a quorum.
You just got to see Brian.
You want
Hi,
to see
Ray.
me?
I'm
We
sorry.
don't.
Good.
Oh, we'll see Brian for Joe. Does that mean he can take this chair?
Well, that's all you, Randy. Go for it.
Charlene is trying to dial in, but she's out of state, so I will let you know if she comes in the meeting.
Okay, fine. Public hearings, there are none tonight. Discuss public hearing, none. Any citizen comments? Start with? Hearing none.
Yeah, you got one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bill Warner, Lowell Davis Road. At your May meeting, Commissioner Krogo questioned why people were upset about the rezoning of properties in Thompson. He was assured by the town planner that this board had met all requirements for hearings and legal notices. I could not comment then because the question rose under Commissioner comments, so I'd like to comment on that now. Your regulations require a public hearing with notification by certified letter to property owners and abutters when there's going to be a zoning change to ensure ample opportunity for neighborhood opinions to be expressed. And that's directly out of your regulations. Yet at your August 24th, 2020 meeting, when the revised zoning was adopted, there was no notice, there was no public hearing, and there was no legal notice. In fact, at that meeting, 4 of the 9 members present, Mr. Blackmer, Mr. Rice, Mr. Wurge, and Mr. Rozier, voted to table the revisions until there could be public participation, because all of the meetings were held on Zoom and they weren't live at that point. The only notice given was in the agenda of your meeting posted on the town's bulletin board and website, which stated, Town of Thompson revised regulation, review and possible action on the final copy of the revised copy of planning and zoning regulations. That doesn't tell anybody that you're rezoning their property. There was no mention of zoning changes. Some property owners found out when they read their tax bills. Many property owners in Thompson are still unaware that their property has been rezoned. That is why so many property owners are upset. Now, on another point, it's also come to my attention that the CEO has told people that I have made complaints about zoning to her. And I would like her to publicly state whether or not I have made any complaints while she's been zoning enforcement officer, because I have not made any complaints. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm not sure what the legal ramifications are on that. I believe this is a 2-week period after meeting to make, I mean, if there's somebody wants to challenge something,
There's 15
I'm
days.
gonna let it, 15 days.
It's
Okay.
15 days for somebody to challenge it, but a lot of people are upset because they were never notified.
Okay, well, the 15 days are more than enough, and if you want to get legal advice to answer that, that'll be your prerogative, but as far as I'm concerned, you should have done that back in August if you wanted to challenge us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just to add to that, possibly by posting it on the bulletin board outside that may cover the FOI. Check into that. I think that posting, that gives the citizens an opportunity, people of interest, read that, and they should go on a website and get that information.
And on your minutes, it did not say you were changing people's zoning,
How about the, oh.
and there was no legal notice. It only said you were updating the regulations. You never told anybody in town you were changing their zone.
All right, so
All right.
if you want to challenge it,
I'm not challenging, I'm just telling you why people are upset.
okay,
Yeah, all right.
thank you.
It's only for information. I'd also like the CEO to clarify that I've never made a complaint to her office. Because she's out telling people that I've made complaints.
Well, I'm not
They'll
gonna,
probably come on the officer and staff report. Or we can ask her at that
Okay.
time.
if you could remind me to ask
I'll
you
remind
that.
you.
Okay, I'm sure you will.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Charlene is in the meeting on Zoom, and obviously you saw Kai's come
When
in.
Kai's came in, she can be seated for, who was sitting Kai's? for?
Jane Salt,
Yes.
Jane, okay. So I think everyone's seated now that is present.
Wendy, any, is there anybody else? in
John,
Citizens comments on Zoom, unless they're all done here. Is there anybody on Zoom for citizens comments?
okay, we have we've done the roll call and seating of alternates. No public hearing. So it'll make it easy to discuss. We did citizens' comments. Wait a minute, am I on the?
Item 6.
Okay. Yeah, but I was just looking to make sure I wasn't looking at last month's agenda here.
Yeah, I have the
Okay,
updated.
approve the minutes of the June 27th meeting.
I have some corrections, please.
Make a motion first.
I can't make a
To
motion.
accept minutes of June 27, 2022.
I'll second it.
And
I have
With
corrections.
correction.
Number 3, first page, it is 272 Riverside Drive. Page 3, down at the bottom of those bullet points. This excavation is hard. It should be rock. Says Rick, it should be rock.
What's the, Cindy, could you say that again?
The bullet points down the end of the page, it says this excavation is hard Rick excavation. It should be rock.
yeah,
The last bullet point on that page after is requested, the words for physical operation should be added. Page 4, Jack Briggs is Jeffrey Briggs. And I think, just give me a minute here, guys and ladies. Excuse me, under number 16 on the last page, 12, you have the word the agenda and I think to agenda, so scratch to agenda. Charlene Langlo suggested changing the agenda to agenda, but take that word to agenda out.
say that again, where's that?
Number 16, commissioners' comments, the
Yeah.
first paragraph.
Yeah.
We have the added word to agenda, which does not belong in the sentence. That's it for me.
Chairman, I'll amend my motion to include the changes.
No, someone else
Who's that,
seconded
your
it.
second?
I'll second. All right,
Oh,
go ahead.
John, you did.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the corrections. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Ready to vote on the minutes? That was correct.
Correction, yeah.
So David, though, approve the minutes. say-
Yes, Dave Pakulski, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Mike Rowe, yes.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes. Approved unanimous. Oh, sorry, John.
And Charlene.
Okay, John B. Linky, yes.
I'm gonna put
Charlene Langlois, yes.
it so I can see it to remind me that you're there.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment from in the Zoom room that your mic is breaking up a little bit. You might just want to pull it a little closer.
I don't have room for my papers if I do that.
There you go.
We'll try. Okay, item 7, applications. PZC number 22-23 applicant Cheryl Popiak, property owner of 1267 Thompson Road, map 116, block 24, lot 16A, zone LD. Request to add one addition apartment for a total of 4 apartments according to town of Thompson zoning regulations, Article 4G, Lake District, Section 28. That, I believe, is an application for public hearing next meeting. Is that correct?
I make a
Cindy?
motion, we move it to public hearing. Application number 22-23.
I'll second
Motion made and seconded. Those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Hearing none, it's unanimous. So that'll be for the next regular meeting. PZC number 22-24 applicant, La Valley Construction LLC, 0 Donovan Drive, map 3, block 8D, 808D. Lot 2D, Thompson Subdivision Regulations, Article 3, Section 1. Here again, this is the scheduled public hearing for
Make a motion to schedule a public hearing, planning and zoning, application 2224 for the August 22 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
motion made and seconded. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
I didn't hear you, John.
Aye. Sorry.
And we should vote on it. I know, it's right on the voice.
All right,
Yeah, on the next one if you want.
okay, we'll
It's better
we'll
to
do
do
it.
it that way.
I thought you wanted to get this meeting over
I
with.
did. But it's all
I
right.
do.
9 o'clock, the Red Sox are gonna lose, you know.
Oh, okay.
6 and 1, really?
Number 3, PZC 22-25 applicant, La Valley Construction LLC, 0 Donovan Drive, map 3, block 80, lot 2D, Thompson Subdivision Regulations, Article 3, Section 4A-1. To schedule a public hearing for next meeting.
I make that motion, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair.
Second.
Okay, John, had a request for voice vote on this, so we'll start.
Okay, John B. Linky, yes.
Charlie
Charlene,
Leglois, yes. Yes.
Dave Paplowski, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Kaiser in the back, yes.
Melvin Hill, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes, that passes unanimous. Item 4 applicant, I did 3, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Item 4, PZC 22-26 applicant Neil T LLC, owner of 520 Riverside Drive, map 85, block 95, lot 10A, zone DMRD, requesting a special permit to operate a car wash, motor vehicle, in parentheses, motor vehicle services, Article 4F, DMRD, Section 2, #20.
Make a motion to accept application 2226, schedule a public hearing for 8/22/22.
I second it, Mr. Vice Chair.
We have motion and a second. Here again. Dave,
Dave Paplowski, yes.
Do we have some discussion
on that first, or?
just for, actually, whether you're gonna have a public hearing or not, that's all we can discuss. We
Okay.
can't
All right.
discuss whether we can have a car wash there or not until
So they still got to go through 2 months worth of meetings after this.
Well, they got at least one.
Next month.
It'll be scheduled for the public hearing next meeting. And it'll be our choice whether we act on it at that point or continue it.
Just had some questions, that's all.
Frank Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Kaiser Roldak, yes.
Mike Krukow, yes. Alvin Hill, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
John
Charlie?
B. Lang-
So,
Charlene Langlois, yes.
I heard. Motion passes unanimously. Now you talked to me and I lost my place.
Item 5.
PZC 22-27 applicant La Valley Construction LLC 0 La Valley Lane, map 3, block 80, lot 2Z, 2AH, comma, zone RRAD, requesting subdivision for 9 lots according to the Town of Thompson subdivision regulations. Article 3, section 4A-1 and Article 3, section 4.
May I comment on this?
Yes, you can.
It's not, well, it's not going to be up to you whether it's going to be for a public hearing. Unfortunately, as I explained in my email today, if anybody read my email, that last week was a nightmare with computers, printers, phone. So I did write up what is requested on this on my comments. Did everybody get a chance to read my memo in the comments? Do you want me to read it to you?
It wouldn't open up. It said that it was from,
Okay. All right, so I'll read it to you.
Go for it.
Okay. The 31 lot subdivision on 67 acres of land, 22 lots have been developed or are in the process of development. The remaining area consists of a Valley Lane and 9 lots. The 10-year renewal options have expired per statute, and applicant is applying for a subdivision permit for the remaining 9 lots on the La Valley Lane. Subdivision regulations, Article 3, Section 4A, requested public hearing for 4 lots or more. Article 3, Section 4 states the commission may waive the application fee for submissions or a revision of a previously approved subdivision with such revision does not constitute a re-subdivision. If the decision of the commission is to waive the fee, does that allow the flexibility to waive the public hearing for the remaining lots, 9 lots that have been previously approved through our regulation process? It will be your decision to approve the 9 lots or require a public hearing to be held on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Applicant will be submitting communication from wetlands and NDDH showing approval for continued development in the subdivision. I do have the wetland letters from Marla. And the only other thing, and I have to ask Janet, she's sitting here because she is the, speaks for the applicant. Marla had told me the lot numbers were not correct. And she gave me the correct lot numbers. Do you know anything about that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we need you on the mic, Jen.
Janet Blanchett, J&D Civil Engineers. I believe it might be the original lot numbers versus the new assessor's lot numbers,
So,
possibly.
so the lot numbers that she gave me was lot, I can't read her handwriting there, but she gave me another piece of paper. Sorry. Okay. He says there are lots 2T, 2U, and 2W. Is it your pleasure to change the announcement on that? Do I have that right? Is that 2225? Sorry.
I believe that's the 4 lot re-subdivision.
Okay,
Cindy, and
so-
not La Valley Lane.
Okay, 2227, sorry, she didn't put these in order, sorry. 2D-2Z, 2AA-2AK. So if that's the lots you're going to approve, I think that the announcement, the heading for the public hearing should be changed. That's my opinion. That the correction should be in the announcement of the application.
What's your
Chair.
opinion?
Go ahead.
So just to be clear, the subdivision expired.
Mhm,
It was a 9-lot subdivision.
mhm.
And it's La Valley Construction's keeping it the same 9 lots, so nothing is changing.
That's correct. The design has not changed at all. Not one thing in the design has changed, and it's still 100% completely meets the Thompson zoning and subdivision regulations. It's shown in orange on there. It's that last stub.
Yep.
Just for a location. I colored it in orange.
So it just expired.
Correct. In 2021.
Aren't they dividing the lots though?
That's in the green.
That's the other ones
It's
up
not
here.
that section.
That's not for this one. This one is just,
I think it's the green, if I studied that correctly.
Well, what type of a fee are we talking about? How much money are we talking about?
Over $3,000.
Was,
Public hearing, and we can get this all straightened out and not to waive the fee. So personally, so I'll make a motion. You can shoot it down if you want, but P and Z application 2227 scheduled for a public hearing. And we can discuss at that public hearing whether we waive the fee or not.
I'll second that
Because I
motion.
think there's more. Unfortunately, we didn't get the packages, so we don't have all of the, at least none of us did. I think the layouts and everything would be in that package. But that's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have a motion and a second to, David did. didn't he?
no.
Well,
I
I'm sorry.
have
Oh.
a question.
Alvin did, excuse me.
Can, I just
Go
gotta, before we debate that, can we waive the fee at the public hearing?
Yeah, why not?
The condition.
Okay.
So anyone, any other comments on it? We have a motion and a second to hold the public, have this public hearing next meeting, discuss waiving the fee as part of that meeting, that hearing.
I have a question.
I'm listening.
What is the purpose of pushing it out another month, Mr. Rice? What are we looking for to happen in a month? Like if everything's the same, what do you need to go to public hearing for?
Is it the same? I don't know. Reading it on, I just had to look it up on a computer and rather than going back and forth, I wasn't sure. Because some of the parcels are being divided. And I don't know if that's part of John Batante's archaeological survey done years ago. If there's stuff in that area, is that along the river, Cindy?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, see, all of these questions, I think, have to come up in a public hearing.
Also, another question is, La Valley Lane, is that the same thing as Patriots?
Yes, it
Ave?
is. Yes, we changed that a while ago. Oh, the board changed it a while ago.
That's,
So the motion is to have the public hearing. I think there's been enough questions raised
Mm.
so that we could justify holding him up to hold a public hearing next meeting. My opinion. We'll vote on, that'll be that's what the motion is. We'll vote yes to hold a public hearing next meeting. David?
Dave Pavelski, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Frank Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Yes.
Mike Kroger, yes. Alvin Hill, yes.
John?
John B. Linky, yes.
Charlene Langlois, yes.
Randy Blackmore, yes. Unanimous. Applications, applications received after the agenda was posted,
No.
none. Reports of staff, officers and staff. Planners report.
Yep, so I have 2 items quickly, our progress on the subdivision regulations. I think that's what I put down as the first item. thanks to the commission voting last month affirmatively, we have hired Janet's firm to consult with us on the appendix for road construction standards. Janet and I have yet to meet on that, but we've already spoken and she's working on it. So I would expect once I come back from vacation, the second week of August, sometime thereafter, she and I'll sit down together and go over that. And then Janet, what do you think? You think we'll have something ready to bring to the commission as a first draft by the August meeting, or do we need more time than that?
I'm not 100% sure. I need to make sure I have a good understanding of where everybody's coming from, looking at your old minutes and having a meeting with you.
Okay, so we won't promise that then for the August meeting, but I think it's probably a good chance we'll
Working
get
on
it
it,
for
though.
September. We're definitely working on it because that's our last critical piece to getting a second draft ready for public presentation and review. And the other is the annual update to the zoning regulations. I sent out on Friday and gave you guys copies at the beginning of the meeting of the memo that I have compiled. Without reading the whole thing, the main sources that we're drawing from for the suggested updates this year is I consulted with the Ag Commission on a couple of meetings to suggest some revisions to essentially homestead poultry and livestock standards. There were also some suggestions made about general standards for actual livestock agriculture, meaning the business of livestock agriculture. Marla had made some very thorough suggestions on her feelings about the net buildable area issue. And I attached her email, the email thread between her and Janet separately on that because there's a lot of text, too much to get in that memo. There were a couple of questions raised in the online code project by the consultant on that. Most of those were grammatical or internal logic error questions that I was able to clear for them. There were two questions that were sort of decisions that the commission has to make. So those are included in there. And then the fourth, and I would say that this one is incomplete, is input from the ZEO regarding some of the procedures and how she views them as having played out over time over the last year. We've made some adjustments, but I think she still feels that there are some inefficiencies there. And so I think we're going to get a little more content from Cindy in that regard. So what I would say that to what we're discussing here is not so much the content of the memo itself, but the procedure. We have tried to make it so that we're doing these annual updates by the September meeting, or at least by the end of September. So I think we have to figure out what the timing of that process is, which I guess I will defer to Cindy because you handle the timing on notices more than I do.
Right, so I have to, well, it has to go in for public, into legal notice. And you accept it for a public hearing because you're making amendments. So you accepted one meeting for the public hearing on the changes of the next meeting. So it's basically a 2-month process. And then you could give a date if and when you approve it, you give a date as to when they take effect.
John?
But it's suggesting that we have a public hearing next month. I think that my
No.
suggestion is that we just got this tonight. I
No,
think we ought to look at this and probably have a subcommittee meeting to discuss all these changes and then bring it.
that's what we're suggesting. We're not suggesting tonight to schedule a public hearing. Absolutely not.
It doesn't have an application number for
No.
tonight, so you really couldn't, but
No.
you could theoretically,
In August.
at your August meeting, accept it for public hearing in September, which would put us still on track. So if you want to schedule a subcommittee meeting to discuss the memo in between the regular meetings, we can do that. That's part of what I wanted to talk with you guys about tonight.
Plus things
I
that
would
I
think
need
so,
to add to
because
it.
There's a lot, well, not a lot, but there's several things in here that I read is that That's a committee to discuss. You
Yes.
know. We,
Well, so the question is, do you want to just discuss it in the context of a public hearing, or do you want to
No.
discuss it separately beforehand?
separately beforehand, then tuck it to a public hearing, once we agree with the final, what we think is the final document,
Sure.
without going to the public hearing and then subject to change again. But at least we'll answer all the questions that's on this thing right now.
I agree with you, John. That's the process it should be.
Do you want to choose a date for that now, or do you want me to doodle poll it? Everybody's favorite.
Tara, I have one question. So how much of the public input has been? We've all lived through the year of questioning zoning regs. So how much of the public input is in here?
So the stuff that the Ag Commission
Right.
has put forward had 2 meetings that were open to the public, and there was definitely public dialogue on that. I have not posted it for written comment. People to email me with their additional comments, which my general suggestion was going to be, I would do that tomorrow based on this meeting. The other option is we could wait until the commission has discussed it, and then, if we're going to have a subcommittee meeting in between, it might make sense to hold that until after that meeting and then publish it for public comment and then go to the public hearing. I'm agnostic on the issue. I could go either way, but
I just think that there's a lot more input from the public that has come through on probably more topics than what are right here. So if we're going to go to subcommittee with it, we should go to subcommittee with all of it, discuss it all at the same time, rather than go to subcommittee, discuss this, then ask for public feedback on just this, or get feedback on the zoning regs.
the only reason that I would hold off until after a subcommittee meeting is essentially because Cindy's portion is incomplete. That would be the only reason.
I need to redline the book from all the work that I've done,
Right.
between the building office and I, and where some of the difficulties are in our regulations.
And that's the things I want to hear. It's not in-
Exactly.
It's not
Yes.
in that piece of
Right.
paper.
It was like 5 to 7 people at the meetings, at the ag meetings from the public.
I'm just, I think that more public input is in regards to the zoning regulations. As there are entirely, what's the feedback and what do people want us to address? Or, over the past year, you've taken calls or fielded questions, or I just think we just do it and, as a yearly review, what that public feedback is. That's my
And
opinion.
the other thing too, if any of the zoning commission members have any feedback on some of the articles that you agreed on, just bring them to me or to Tara and let us know what you think needs to be changed too, as you review the book. But that would be a big help to us.
Mhm.
So Cindy, are you prepared to give us a timeline when you'd be ready? Then we can meet after that.
Well, here's what I thought, it's been, the office is incredibly busy. So I'm actually taking a plane ride this week, so I'm going to bring the zoning reg and go through it on the plane. And, I'm just gonna try to do, I know I need to do it, so yes, I have to get it done. So your answer is yes,
Or
I will
but
get
you're
it done.
you get it done for when? That was my question.
Yeah.
When should we expect it?
When would you like it? I guess I would,
When you're ready, I guess.
okay. So give me 2 weeks.
There's no sense in rushing to get it done for the first week of August because I'm away. I
Right,
can't
right.
put any of that together. So if you could have
Yes.
it ready for the beginning
Yeah.
of the second week of August, when I'm back from vacation,
Mm.
then that gives us something we can hang our hats on.
Yeah,
It should give you some time. to
Yeah,
get
and
it
the other
together.
thing, I'm taking 2 days off this week, so I can work, 5 days next week. And that'll give me time to do what I have to do and et cetera, so.
So what's the second Monday in August? That's when we're talking about,
Well,
right?
let her and Tara figure it out.
Well, the second
Send-
Monday in
send-
August is
And then
August.
she
10th.
sends out that doodle poll as to when majority of
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
available.
We
Yeah,
can
the
do that.
second Monday is generally the ZBA, even though we happen to have any ZBA meetings. Right, this is second Monday, right, Gloria? Yeah.
Not that I'm very good on computer.
Why does it have to be on a Monday? Why can't we just do like we've been doing? Pick a day that's open to everybody, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that has been working out pretty good in what we were doing recently.
Yeah, I can send out a doodle poll for,
Okay, when we know
that's fine.
when stuff's ready.
All right, so just to be clear, what we're discussing now is Cindy's going to prepare her additional commentary. I'm going to send out a doodle poll to choose a date in the second or third week of August for a
Correct.
subcommittee meeting to discuss this. And then I'm going to publish the day after that subcommittee meeting, the draft for public review with whatever comments get attached to this memo, Cindy's, yours, mine, whomever. And then at the August 22nd regular meeting, you can potentially vote to move it to public hearing in September. Is that what I hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Works for me.
Go ahead, Mike.
How many people actually attend these online meetings other than board members?
Depends. We've had some that have had, dozen people or so dialing in, and we've had some with none. For the most part, we have not invited comment in the subdivision regulation working group meetings because it's a different process. This would be different. We would invite public comment directly. That would be part of the point. I will say it is more efficient when I receive these comments via email because I can, store them essentially in a written form where I'm not having to interpret what somebody says to me over the phone or online, in a meeting format like this. But that'll be a part of how we gather more feedback for sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because I hate computer stuff. I just don't, I know it's more feasible overall for people to participate instead of coming in person. And I know that's a good thing. I'm just wondering how well it's actually put out there for people to be attending these meetings, have any kind of input to it.
Well, you've got the board.
Yeah, the board is,
Yeah.
I know, we always say advertise here, put it there, but and it doesn't work no matter where we put it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike,
it's the
after
I
same,
like in person myself.
After
it's
last
the same
week, I
legal
really agree with
requirement,
you on
Mike,
the
as any
computer.
other
Yeah,
meeting.
what's gonna happen when all that crashes, huh? Now you know. I'm sorry.
It's the same legal requirement as any
I know,
other
it's
meeting.
just Totally different.
So, and you guys have the option to choose to make that a hybrid meeting like this. I will say that when we're actually working on documents, it's generally much more effective when we're online. There's fewer distractions and we can really all be looking at the document on the
I know,
screen.
that's good at that.
Yeah, so,
The other thing too is since the regulations have been done, we've certainly had a lot more audience, citizens
Yes, we have.
comment input. And so I'm sure when they see that, they'll be passing the word along too to other people. That there is going to be this meeting, check the website or make sure you go to the meeting. So we've had a lot more, as you all know, from the public.
Okay, did that complete your,
I'm happy with what we've come up with. We have a plan to move forward, which is all I really was after.
okay, moving, does anyone have any questions for Sarah? Hearing none. CEO,
Okay, besides my memo, I had one item, but now I have two. So I'll do the first item. At the last meeting, there was a slight discussion between John and I as to what an applicant, to what kind of questions can be said after the public hearing is closed. So I wrote to our attorney to get an opinion because it concerns me. We have to do everything legal, and I certainly don't want to do anything against what any zoning commission members request. I'm only staff. So what I did is, this is what I wrote to him. I said, Rich, I've been in zoning since 1989. It has always been my understanding that when the public hearing is closed and the commission starts discussion, the members can ask the applicant questions or clarification only what was discussed in the public hearing. The public is not permitted to speak after the public hearing is closed. I experienced this situation at the last commission meeting. A commission member was making reference to something that was brought up in the public hearing by the applicant. I said to the commission member, why don't you ask the applicant? They're right here. And the commission member said, justifiably, Cindy, they're not allowed to speak anymore. And I said, yes, they are if they are referencing something brought up in a public hearing. And so I spent like 2 or 3 hours at home just looking at all the publications we get and see where this was addressed. And when I couldn't find anything, that's when I sent this to Rich. So he answered, he said, once the hearing is closed, the commission really shouldn't be engaging in dialogue with anyone. If there is a specific question or item that needs to be clarified, you, meaning me or Tara, as staff may be able to intermediate between the commission and the applicant to get an answer. But it's a slippery slope for the members to keep having a conversation with them and not allowing the public to participate. So I guess we'll just have to go on that. And what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll send it to everybody in the next package if you get it. And then I will make sure that Joe gets this.
Suggestions next time is send it to Herrick, FOI, and he would have the answer for that.
Oh, okay, I can do, thank you. I'll do that. Thank you very much. Okay. All right.
Tom Hennick.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. In relationship to what Mr. Warner said, I don't have the emails here. If I had known that he was going to bring it up tonight, I certainly would have, they're in there because they're not cleaned out. What had happened and what commonly happens when people have a complaint is they email me. And this particular one was considered, I'm going from my memory, and Bob, Mr. Warner, you can correct me if I'm incorrect. Question a structure on Lowell Davis Road that was housing poultry. And because I'm very familiar with the person that he was making reference to, I was comfortable calling that person to see if I could set up an appointment to go and see where the structure was located, to see what he was talking about. That as far as it went, what the person said to me is, let me look at my schedule, my time, and see when you can come out. It was pretty much the end of it. I believe there was some reference to the chickens, but chickens, according to the ag department, it's a hobby. You can raise chickens and you can sell your eggs, and it is not regulated by anybody, because it's a hobby. So that was the end of it until he did come in the office one other time and said, I believe what he said tonight. And if I didn't apologize to him for misunderstanding that was not a complaint, it was just an inquiry, then I apologize tonight that I mistook it for a complaint, because like I said, I get a lot of these in the email. If I mention it to anybody, it probably would be staff and conversations with staff. End of story. So that's my side of it.
It ended up in a newspaper article and a letter to the editor that I had filed complaints, and I did not question anybody's structure.
Is he
I
supposed to
asked
speak?
If there was a couple, you asked if I had issues, and I'm
Vice Chair.
and the fact of the matter is, I have an email from you where you told people that I had filed a complaint against them. Did not. I
Okay,
had asked if there were permits for chickens for a couple of locations, just because I was doing research for a letter to the editor.
okay, so we're getting into a he said, she said
Right.
Well, if she
situation,
doesn't,
and
if she doesn't admit it, I'm gonna contact my lawyer
Okay.
because she defamed me.
you can do that.
Okay.
You finished your. point?
That was it. Yeah, I mean, that is
Any
it
questions for
from my
Cindy?
memory. I could probably research these emails that he's talking about, but that's what I remember without being prepared for an answer.
Okay, thank you.
So
Budget
just,
report?
just don't delete those
Oh, no, I-
emails in the event that
Yeah.
you have to go to court, you'll have the emails,
I
the
have to.
backup or whatever you're saying. All right, town budget, this is the first month, so
Loaded.
We're pretty good.
Haven't spent it on yet?
No,
John, what is it? I didn't hear you.
I said this is the first month for the
The
budget.
budget for the year, so
New
we've
budget,
got
so-
lots of money.
So we have-
The only expenses are the secretary and the E CEO.
Anyone, any questions for John? Hearing none, moving on. Correspondence, we have the ZBA meeting was in July was canceled. The counter was to planning board decision down at Douglas, notice of public hearing, public notice of public hearing. Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agencies, which I'm not sure whether that was in the email that was sent out, but it's a couple pages that were in the packets, which we didn't get.
Yeah.
Um,
Suggestion is that when we eventually will get that package, our packages in the mail, suggest that you read, if you have an opportunity, read that Connecticut Federation memo, because there's a couple of court cases that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
And
The other thing, when you do get your packet, there, you know, when I was running it off today for, get it, you know, for Randy, if you would keep everything to next month, so we don't have to repeat, you know, all that information, we'll send you the applications.
save a
But-
tree.
Pardon, yes, please save a tree, and we will send you the 11 by 17, because I kept the 11 by 17s here. So we'll send you that, but it would be nice if, you know, just sort of put the packet on the table and say, I'll have this for next month.
You got everyone from the beginning.
I know you do. Yes.
I might make another suggestion about the hard copy packets, because the mail has proven unreliable now a few times, and it's not like they're not putting them together. I mean, they work their behinds off to get those together. Would it be more practical for the commissioners to pick them up on that Thursday? Because the town hall keeps hours until 6. And then you don't have to get a rude surprise by not having it in time for the meeting. I mean, it just seems to me that it's a waste. It's also killing trees if we're sending out packets that nobody's getting in time for them to be useful.
Could someone other than us come get them?
I don't see why not.
They'll be where?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Cindy's
what-
office,
whose
your
office?
office, or?
Cindy's not here till 6.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll leave them on the table and your name will be on it. And just come in here and pick it up off
Or
the
we can
table.
leave them with the town clerk,
Yeah.
you know, because their office is always open until 6 on those long hours.
I'm home during the day. I could pick yours up for you.
Yeah, thank
Throw it
you.
In the mailbox. Or
Yeah.
at the house.
I don't have time to get out, so.
But they were mailed Wednesday. I left Wednesday before Gloria did, and she was right there, and Marie was working with her to stamp them, and they were mailed
I
Wednesday.
thought I was the
Oh,
only one.
I
I'm glad I
wasn't
wasn't.
questioning.
No, oh, I know you weren't, but, you know, it's just very irritating for all of us.
Yeah.
For the people who do the work, and then,
Yeah,
no, not to get it.
Okay, moving on. Signing of Mylar, done. No
Nothing.
Mylar. Review of PZC 22-15 Old West Thompson
Okay,
Road gravel operation.
Okay,
Approval
since no
conditions.
one received this, which was a good thing, because it was just kind of messed up between emails and I'm sorry, John and Charlene, I'll get you a copy of this. By the time I got all the information together, I got some response from a couple inquiries I had made as to whether this was right or wrong. I did not get this over to Attorney Heller until Friday. So, excuse me, till Thursday, and not in on Friday. I again looked at it today, and he had presented some suggestions that I have put into the 9 points here, that conditions. My suggestion tonight is there's no hurry to get this special permit because they're not opening tomorrow. So my suggestion is for you to take this home, look at what I wrote up, from what I thought you all said at the meeting, and then look at his suggestions, and all his suggestions are in bold.
Mhm.
What I will tell you how I came up with the 9, I listened to the tape of the whole whole motion condition on that particular part of the tape. And I read my notes and I read Gloria's minutes. And this is what I came up with. And I got one suggestion to change something, which I changed. It basically said the same thing, it was just better wording. And then Heller's suggestion. So I would say put this off to next month.
And everything he suggested is in bold letters.
Yes, everything he suggested is bold. If you would like his direct email, I have no problem making a copy of it
No,
for
that's
you.
right.
Any of the members have any objections to putting this off till next meeting?
Nope.
Nope.
That's what we will do. Won't even vote on it, just do it. New business, 4 Watson Road.
Okay, we're on the road again. Ed is here to talk about it. He's interested in purchasing that property. The basic reason why he is here tonight is to have the insurance that you feel as I do, that what he wants to do out in that piece of property complies with our non-conformance of less intensive, not a more intensive business than what was there before. So I'll hand it over to him, and then I do have some comments to make about the underground tanks.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ed Bernier, looking to purchase 4 Watson Road for the purpose of opening a marina, Cove Marine, specializing in restoration of pontoon boats. Wood decks, vinyl flooring, electrical. I specialize in electrical work. So that's pretty much what I would like to do there. Possibly down the road, sell pontoon boats. Also.
So you don't, again, you don't have his written, well, you had it in the email. You just want to, did you read everything off of what that said, or?
It was in the application, right? That
Right, it
was
was,
online.
yeah. Yeah, in the future, did you say in the future you might want to sell
Yes,
boats?
new
Okay.
pontoon boats,
New
yes.
boat.
So ones.
So everybody knows the difficulty of those 2 lots, but let's concentrate on 4 Watson. So I got a call from the representative from Global, who represents the owner on these 2 properties to sell. And he came, we had a meeting. And he asked me if our ordinances say anything about remediation on, environmentally spoiled lands. And I looked in the ordinances and there's nothing there. Everything was done in 1986, 1994. I called DEEP and lo and behold, got a call back, and they were very generous, and they were looking into any records that they had on it. She called me back Thursday, and she was going to send me an email with our phone conversation, because again, the phone conversation was, I had to take my cell phone outside, call her, and I didn't have a piece of paper and pencil there to write everything down. This is just what technology did to us last week. So my feeling here is, I don't think with what DEEP is going to write up for us, the fact that we don't have any regulations or any ordinances that regulate pulling tanks out. The only place that has that is the state. The issue that a person who buys those 2 pieces of property will come up against is if the Northeast District Department of Health, if they wanted to redo the septic and well, then they have to have soil testing, and it would go from there. So I'm not really finished with the research with the state. And again, like I said, she did not send, there was no email. Of course, I forgot to check spam. I always forget to check spam. But I shouldn't have, because I had been emailing her, so it should have come directly to me, but I will check that tomorrow.
That was my one concern reading that was, I don't want to see you get yourself out on a limb.
Absolutely not.
I guess if the state has no problem, they give you a letter that you got a clean bill of health as far as what you want to do there. Would be where to start.
Yes.
Gonna be kind of hard to sail a pontoon boat out of there, but
It would also be storage, storing them, shrink wrap, winterize and store in the lot in the back.
so anyway, that's my word of caution is sit tight till you get clearance from.
Yes,
I guess the next question is, you want to know whether we would be willing to consider that a less,
Intensive.
less intense,
yes.
non-conforming use. Penny, for your thoughts.
Cindy, are you awaiting a response from Deep on that?
Yeah,
Yes, I am, not
Okay.
on this question, but I don't think that
What
my question of
question?
you, I'm sorry.
What question? I don't know. You say this question about the contamination of the
Right,
soil?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I think that's all we have to, he has to know.
Right.
We know if, as Randy just mentioned, if the site is clean and there's no violations or anything, I would wait, just forget a clean bill of health from Deep and
then the next question is that are we in agreement that that's a less intensive use? It's a non-conforming use.
oh, yeah,
It's definitely less intense
doesn't
than
seem
what was
like.
there.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. And I
Yeah.
think
And I think he wants the consensus that we're gonna
if
go
there's
along
tanks
with
in
it.
the ground and the state says that you don't have to pull them out, there's no reason why we should say that you do.
They've been removed.
Oh, okay.
They've all been
I'm not-
removed.
Oh, yeah, they've been.
Okay, I know you
In
said something about that.
93, they were all
So-
removed.
86, one property, 94, the other property. I think 94, the property he wants to buy.
Mr. Vice Chair,
On the table, just
Yes,
to
sir.
be a less
John?
intensive.
yes, what the question is, my question to the gentleman is you're after the property where the original business worked on, that's what used to be the office and then where they used to store the motor oil and stuff. So you're taking that one section, that's the one section you're after, right next to the railroad tracks, correct?
Yes,
Well, now, what's the other, our CEO just said there's another piece of property that is that the property that is on the right-hand side, if you're looking from the road, which is all woods right now.
Or you
Correct.
talk about down at what?
the other
No,
property.
the other property I'm talking about, John, is on 131.
Across from
Oh,
your-
okay,
Because if I'm talking to DEEP, I'm going to talk to them about both properties, so they're trying to sell both properties.
what property, which one on 131?
Canyon Oil.
Canyon Oil, the office building.
Oh, the headquarters, okay, all right, sorry. You threw me for a left there. So, yeah, okay, the headquarters property. Yeah, but that was only the headquarters in, wait, Jesus, I remember pumping gas back there back in the 60s. I think that was all cleaned up if I remember correctly, but that's a warehouse more or less now.
That's a lot of office space too, but
Yes, correct.
so anyway, the question is whether we agree that that the consensus is if he gets a clean bill of health from DEEP, do we accept a piece on Watson Road as to do what he wants would be a less non-conforming use? Did I say that right?
Yes.
No, Mr. oh,
Yes.
no,
Okay.
John,
Dave
Okay.
Popowski, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Size or Lavash, yes.
I'm going to abstain because I still have a question.
Calvin?
Alvin, yes.
John?
John B. Linky, yes.
Charlene?
Charlene Langlois, yes.
Randy Blackmore, yes. One abstention and everyone else in favor. I lost count. Does that answer, you got any more questions? Does that answer your questions for tonight?
That pretty much answers it, yes, sir. Sir had another question or?
I have a question. The minerals and things you're going to be using at the site. I know they're not as bad as oil and everything else, but what kind of material or minerals? would you be
Cleaning.
using?
So just washing boats. We're gonna be doing basically pontoon boats. So repair the rotted deck, remove it, replace it with new marine plywood, glue the vinyl down or the carpet, whichever flooring is chosen. And that's about it. Wiring, basically wiring.
And what kind of lacquer and everything would you be using
Lacquer.
for the floor sealing it?
It's a adhesive, vinyl and carpet adhesive.
And if you have any dangerous materials. it'd be
It's all water
stuff
salt.
or anything else?
It's all water soluble products. A lot of it is not reused. We use brushes or rollers. We dispose of them.
I would like to change my vote to a yes. Then.
Okay, so that makes the consensus unanimous. All set?
Hey, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll be in tomorrow, but I won't be in for the rest of the week, so, just let me know.
Item B, 175 Hill Road, making clear a discussion on accessory building, accessory dwelling unit. You want to,
Okay, so I have the request, and Janet is here because she is representing the person who made this request of this piece of property on
Hill Road.
Hill Road. It presently is quite a bit. There's 15 acres, right, Janet? About 15 acres.
Yes, I
Yep.
believe so.
15 acres. There's a house on it now. They would like to build another unit, which they're allowed to under the new regulations, but they want the other unit to be around 3,200 square feet. The present dwelling is 2,208 square feet. And so we want to know, considering our regulations, if this can be, it can be reversed when that house is built. That's the new house is the primary dwelling and the second house is the accessory. I have nothing to guide by except
I
the
don't. see-
regulations.
I don't have a problem with it,
I
but
don't know. I mean, when I looked at it, it didn't seem, without seeing a plot plan and
Yeah.
how the whole thing looked,
Right,
it didn't look unreasonable to me.
no, there's
The
plenty of
request.
land and
Yeah.
the whole thing sits 1,000 feet back from the road.
Yeah.
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 and they're aware of the wetlands and they've already communicated with Marla on the wet. I believe you communicate with Marla. or-
I'm not sure, I'm not actually representing them. Sorry if there was a
Okay.
misunderstanding, but they asked me for a proposal, and I said, are you allowed to do that?
Okay, all right, so that's how it came up.
Drag through the dirt, huh?
Okay, that's how it came up because she did call me too. And then we found out that, okay. All right, and I will let her know. okay? That you have no problem with it, that it's gonna reverse,
There is quite a bit of wetlands over there. There's a pond.
right,
We own the property next door, so.
yes. And they're aware of that.
Yes, oh yes, they have permission to use our property and.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Okay,
They ride horses.
And the wetlands is, I'm not sure where the house is going, but in relation to where the other house is, the wetland is a lot closer to Hill Road than their,
Yeah.
their house.
yeah, it's going beyond Hill Road. Yeah, it's going in the back.
Yeah,
But in the back, there's that pond, but
Yeah.
that's quite far.
it's still a long distance.
Yeah,
That has to go through wetlands anyway, so as long as it gets, as long as it gets approved through wetlands.
Yeah, this is-
NDDH and
This is where the
Yeah,
house is, right here, the present house, and she's gonna go about right here. The wetlands is around, right around here.
The application.
So,
Need to
Mr.
take
Vice
any
Chair,
action on that, or is that?
No, I'm just gonna tell her that, go ahead with her plans and the new dwelling will turn into the primary dwelling because it's larger. And the existing dwelling will be considered the secondary dwelling. That's less square footage than the primary dwelling. I mean, I believe I would have to write something up for the assessor, for the assessor to know
Mhm.
that, so.
Certainly makes sense that the
Yeah.
house that's twice as big should become the primary
Right.
dwelling.
Right,
All right, item 14, citizens' comments.
I just
have a question, and that is on our auxiliary building on the site. Is there a limit on how many bedrooms you can have?
Doesn't get to state his name, get up and say
Yeah,
his name.
could you
and
just do the,
everything.
the whole schmear, please?
Do it right, Bill.
Okay.
Well, everybody has to, so that's.
Yeah.
Picking on, just.
Bill Warner, Lowell Davis Road. I'm just wondering on an auxiliary building, do you have to have, is it limited by the number of bedrooms on that auxiliary
That's the health,
auxiliary building?
that's the health department's decision. As to how many,
It's not in the regs?
It
no,
is.
do you want it to be?
No,
Just
it
kidding,
is.
Bill.
The,
Is it gonna create a problem?
the accessory dwelling unit regulations include a stipulation that it must meet setbacks and health
Yeah.
code requirements. So the health department's not going to approve a plan for a septic that can't handle the capacity of what's being proposed. So that's the default.
Answer your question,
Pretty
Bill?
much what it's like.
Randy, I think you're skipping one.
I did.
Item C and 13C.
Item C.
There's no
That's
C
strange.
on mine.
There's no C.
Okay, does everybody have a copy of this? If not, I'll go make copies.
No.
What item, just I can read it off, 13 proposed change to the order of agenda items. Remember we discussion was the agenda items.
Save a tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my
Maybe something we
suggestion
can
would
outline.
be is that probably if nobody's gotten these, I don't know, I must have got this.
I
off
opened
already.
that on here, but I
Yeah.
exited out, didn't think it was, I needed it.
Mine wouldn't open, but.
All right.
My suggestion would be is to place this on the agenda for next month. We have to be notified if we're changing our regulations, or
Okay.
order of business.
Bylaws. You mean.
Bylaws, I'm sorry. So,
I was going on the assumption that if we wanted to change it, we'd do it at any meeting, but that's fine. If we want to change it the way you're saying, we need to do it.
no, I
have it
just
on the
want to have
agenda.
notice that we're gonna change it.
Yep.
We vote on it next month.
We had a whole raft of stuff that we didn't want to make everybody sit for, so that's why we changed
Right,
it last
but
time.
I didn't see the final thing until Joe sent it out.
Yeah, because I just got this last week.
Yeah.
So
Joe
what I will
Peroni
do is
sent
I
it.
will print up what it looks like now and then attach this to that, the changes. So,
So we can act on that next meeting.
yes,
And we'll
yes,
have discussion on that next week.
yes,
before we change it.
yes. There was absolutely no time to do this when I got it Thursday afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Review of
Wednesday
ZBA,
afternoon I got it.
review of ZBA applications, as many as we had last meeting.
Nope, they haven't had a meeting for months.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, you opened citizens' comments and then we went back to another agenda item. So it's possible there are people who still want to address the commission.
Citizens' comments. Hearing none.
On the line.
There's no
No one
one.
online
Nobody's
wants
raising their hand, but that's why I wanted him to go back in case there was anybody online.
Okay.
Item 15.
Review ZBA applications, are none. 16 is commissioners' comments.
17, let's go.
Next meeting.
We almost made it before 8.
Motion
Closest
to
we've been in
adjourn.
a long time.
I know.
Take a
Wow.
motion to adjourn.
I'll take it.
Motion made and seconded. Meeting adjourned.
I say aye, let's go.
Bye, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
This will be the 22nd. for next meeting?
The 22nd, August 22nd.
It's gonna take us long to break down the desk.